Alright guys, Copper Cutlass here, doing a little update. It's been a while. Haven't really done a whole lot with the car, haven't really talked about it much. I've been a little upset, to be honest with you guys, but I guess it's just me being me, but I ultimately know the reality of it. Last time we took the car out to Byron, and the best we ran was like a 1221, spinning pretty bad. We were fighting traction, and I'm losing it, so it's not off the line, so it's my front end, I think, is coming up too fast. I asked a couple of people on a pretty good forum, and they're like, you need to slow the front end down a bit. And, I talked to another friend of mine, and he said, soften up your rear shock settings. I do got single adjustables in the back, so next time out, I'm going to change to a stiffer shock in the front. Right now, I got 80/20s. I'm going to go to a 60/40, and I'm going to go to 2 clicks from 5 clicks on the rear shocks. So if not, I'll put the sway bar in the front to slow the front end when it comes up, because it's coming up too fast. The other day, I took the car out, had it out all morning. I picked up my buddy. He bought a truck off of a friend of my boss's, C20, real nice shape. Oh, it's alright, it runs great though. And of course, on the way to the shop, this thing decides to flood over. And on the way there, it kind of did it, but I figured, maybe I'm just tipping the carb a little bit too much, and, going over the railroad tracks, and the fuel slosh came out the vent tube. But nope, stick a needle in the seat, which I got the new one. I just got to swap it. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to end up making the air pan to seal up to the ram air hood, because this is fully functional. So that's going to get all sealed up. And then, so along with some, oh hey, the dogs came out to say hi. But I'm going to also make some header extensions to dump the X pipe. I think that might be limiting some performance as well at this point on the car, because it is only a 2.5-inch pipe, and this motor loves to rev. It really needs to breathe, so I think that's going to be something else we're going to see a gain on. But for now, if the radials don't work, which again, drag radials are one of those things where everything's got to be right for it to hook your car and track prep. So I got my bias plies. Got to put tubes in them. One tire is really leaky, but I got the tubes in that box, and if anything, we'll run the bias plies and see how it hooks and go from there. And hopefully in the fall we can click off an 1190, which is my goal with this car, because ultimately it needs a lot more gear and a lot more converter, and I'm dancing that fine dance between a street car and a full-on race car, which I really don't want. I really like driving this car, and it drives pretty good with the 390 and the 3500 stall. I am willing to go to a good custom-made 4500 stall, so it's good on the street as well. But for now, I'll be really happy with an 1190. I think that's pretty realistic. We're running 1210. It was so far was our best at 109, and that was with a bad flat spot. Now we got the carb issues figured out, but now we're hitting it with a little bit more power off the line, and it's not as soft, so the tires aren't hooking up. So that's it on this turd. And hey, what are you doing? So onto this. Don't mind my overflowing garbage can. I got to clean that tomorrow. So I got this 350. I've been kind of working on and off. It kind of morphed into a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a slap together, as more of a let's kind of use what we got and build something out of this. So for some of the people that haven't followed along on this engine, guy who I know ended up pretty much spinning a rod bearing at this point, and so the crank that's nice and shiny over there is the one that came out of it, and that spun a rod bearing. The one next to it with the crusty flex plate, which is fine. The crank is in great shape, standard, nothing major, great shape. So we're gonna use that crank, and we replaced one rod, and the weight got matched. And on a stock assembly with cast pistons for the RPM that he's going to be driving it, should be fine without balancing it. I've done it in the past. If you're going to be racing it, ooh, yeah, hear the fireworks? It's almost 4th of July. So, yeah, at this point, we're just going to kind of put it together with the combination of parts that we got. And that's what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. As you can see, I got oil pump, timing chain, the cylinder heads, which might or may not go on tomorrow. My goal is to have the rotating assembly pretty much put together. I do everything in kind of like steps. I got the rocker arms and the coffee can, and then I got main bearings. I got the cam, rings, rod bearings. Obviously, my rods and pistons you saw, main caps, push rods. Won't need that just yet. And then there's a box of dress-up goodies like your timing cover, and I need that pickup for the oil pump. There's a bunch of other parts in there that are going to won't be needed until later. The intake's also up there. But for now, the goal for tomorrow is to assemble the rotating end of the engine, degree the cam, and yeah, so that's the goal. I've been hopefully by the end of this weekend coming up, this thing will be together. And then over here, I got my parts cleaner, assembly lubes, degreasers, PB blaster, cam install tool, positive piston stop, ring filer, to file fit the rings, ID mic, veneer calipers. I got my lobe tool so I can, degree the cam in. I got my crank socket, 1/2-inch wrench. And I got the flex hone to refinish the cylinder walls because this engine didn't have a ridge. Pretty much low mileage. It still had a nice crosshatch in there. So I'm just going to clean them up, put some new crosshatches on there, and put in the plasma molar rings. So that's what I got going on for tomorrow, which will be the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, guys. And those are the plans also with the olds, what I got going on there, and the goals and the needs and the wants, I guess. So guys, thank you for following along. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Follow us on Facebook as well, Copper's Garage, and follow us on Instagram, Copper Cutlass. This is what I got going on. And I will follow this up probably tomorrow, and hopefully we got something that looks a little bit more like an engine than this. So, thanks guys.